Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. And I had some stuff I wanted to cover today. We had a really good conversation not too long ago about Prince, the singer Prince, and what happened with his estate, and the fact that lawyers and all these other vultures have pretty much come in and taken about 25% of Prince's estate. Actually, between lawyers and the IRS, I think Prince is going to lose well over half of his estate within the next couple of years. The probate process has not shown a lot of signs of slowing down. It's taken them forever just to figure out who the heirs are. So Prince was something that we talked about yesterday as kind of an example of what not to do when it comes to your death planning. Now, there is some interesting news on the flip side of that when it comes to celebrity financial management decisions, and that is Michael Jordan, actually. Michael Jordan, I'm going to pull up some references here so we can kind of talk about this. Michael Jordan has been phenomenal when it comes to managing his wealth. I don't know if you guys know about this, but there's actually a report that says that Michael Jordan's net worth within 1 year, it jumped from about 350 million to about 1.65 billion dollars. So Michael Jordan is officially a billionaire. A lot of people are surprised by this to a point. They knew Michael was rich, they just didn't know how rich. And I can tell you, maybe I'm the first to tell you this, but Michael Jordan is now a billionaire. And so, anyway, how did that happen? It's kind of interesting because when people talk about sort of reaching that millionaire, billionaire status, a lot of people sort of act like it just happens by chance. That there's sort of a random draw. It's something where you either win the billionaire lottery or you don't, and that's just not how things like that work. Typically, people that become millionaires and billionaires don't get there, just by accident. They get there by strategy. They get there by making certain decisions and positioning themselves in specific ways in order to be able to be positioned to take advantage of opportunities as they arise. Investing obviously is part of that process. And the way you might want to think about investing is almost like somebody saying, I want to go hunting for food. I'm going to go hunting for rabbits, and I'm going to have my gun and have it cocked and have bullets in the gun in case I see a rabbit, and I'm going to make sure I'm trained to shoot so that when the rabbit shows itself, I can get that rabbit and get me some food, right? Whereas you might have some people that are just out there in the woods. They don't know how to hunt. They don't have a gun. They haven't put any ammunition in the gun. So when the opportunity arrives, they ain't ready. Opportunity knocks, and they can't even answer the door because they didn't position themselves to take advantage of opportunities as they arise. So anyways, we get started. I want to say welcome to Dr. Boyce TV. This is the home for intelligent Black people. I also simulcast on the Black Financial Channel. If you just like to see financial stuff from me, and that's okay, you can actually subscribe at theblackfinancialchannel.com, theblackfinancialchannel.com. And I want to say good morning to everybody. I see Famous X Bucket, Cameron Kelly, Ill Will, Melanie Stewart, Vic FM, how you doing? Let me see. I see Buzzy Whitfield, Patrick Michael, Doris Howell, how are you? And I see Andrew and Shinaloa. I think that's what it says, but I don't know what it means. I can't read it exactly. Now, John Doe says he's been a billionaire. That's debatable. I'm not going to say that you're wrong. I'm going to say that he has been officially a billionaire according to Forbes since about 2018. But you're probably right. I mean, it's not like he became a billionaire necessarily overnight. What appears to have occurred overnight, I believe, is a result of a long-term accumulation in value. It's almost like maybe when a basketball team wins a national championship, it looks like overnight they might become, really famous and known overnight, but they've been practicing for an entire year. Or when a singer becomes an overnight sensation, it's not like the effort that it took to become an overnight sensation happened overnight, right? Typically things that happen overnight take years and years and years of development and process. So I'm not going to even debate you on that. In fact, that's not even worthy of debate. The point is the man is doing well financially, and there's things we can learn, and that's what I want to focus on here. Now, do me a favor, shout out your city. As you know, we do our city shout out. Shout out your city. Let us know what city you're coming from. I see Lubbock, Texas. Kevin Gibson from Chicago. Okay, Reno is from Lubbock. Let's see here. Well, Raya says Becky there to take his bag. Well, that's his business. That's what it is. I'm not gonna, but I mean, I do think it is kind of interesting, right? You do wish that some of this wealth would actually really stay deep in the black community. But I'm gonna tell you part of the reason why I think that doesn't happen as much as it should, and some of it's on them, some of it's on us, and I'll explain why in a minute. Darius from Houston, Kotab, Washington D.C., Ronaldo O'Neill, Florida, Tony Oak, South Haven, is that Mississippi? Paperboy, Wilmington, Delaware, Milester from Miramar, Florida, Falak from Dallas. I see GM. Okay, good morning from LA, says Fatimo. Good morning to you. Jackson, Mississippi from Freeman. I love Jackson. All right, so let me kind of break some of this down for you, real quick, and kind of give you an assessment of what I think is going on and what I'm seeing from where I'm standing. I don't know Michael Jordan. So this is not, a perspective from one of Michael's friends. I do know people that know Michael Jordan pretty well. I do know the guys that run the Jordan brand. I do know that. I've met with them, and I've actually visited their headquarters out in Portland, if I'm not mistaken, on the Nike campus. And I remember being in the Michael Jordan building. All the buildings on the Nike campus are named after various famous athletes. So you walk through the campus, and it really is like a college campus. It's very interesting and really inspirational to a point, in the sense that you see these stories about how Phil Knight started with, pretty much nothing, and built this into this dramatic empire that he has now, that the company has become. And, and it really should be a reminder to all of you who have those little struggling businesses. No matter how tiny your business is and how insignificant your business may seem to be, you're probably not as insignificant as Phil Knight was, back when he started Nike. Like, whatever little tiny crap you think that you have, your crap is probably not any crappier than what Phil Knight had when he first started Nike. And I'm not kidding. I mean, they literally, when you literally just see the story, and they show you the first pair of Nike shoes and how they put the track spikes on with the waffle iron, and they were selling them in the back of the van. It reminds you of Pookie, selling CDs in the back of his truck, and then he goes on to become the biggest artist in the world. Like, that's really what, that's like the white people version of that. And I'm gonna tell you, it's something that I wish more black people could see things like this and believe things like this, because, you'd be amazed at what you can accomplish if you actually try. You'd be amazed at what you can accomplish when you believe in yourself and you never give up, or at least put things in position so that your children can take over something and make it bigger than what you made it into. So let me tell you a few facts about Michael Jordan and the wealth that he built. Please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, we need you to do that. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Yes, babe. Oh, okay. So please hit that thumbs up button. So here's the first thing about Michael Jordan and the $1.65 billion that he's worth today. First off, which is really interesting, Kitty's Custom Cleaning. Love your message, Dr. Boyce. Thank you very much. I love you too. The first thing you should know about Michael Jordan and his billion-dollar fortune is that he got a lot of that money from his ownership in that basketball team, the Charlotte Hornets. And honestly, the Hornets are barely worth mentioning because they really suck. Anybody who is there anybody who's a basketball fan who knows how bad the Hornets suck? Tell me yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. Are you aware of how badly they suck? Like how consistently they don't just suck now. They suck for all eternity. I think 11 or 14 years never made the playoffs, something like that. Like, they are straight garbage, like stinky garbage too, like garbage that you just don't even want to take it out because it smells so bad, and you're wondering like if somebody's baby from down the street came and delivered all their dirty diapers to your trash can. Like, that's how bad the Hornets are. They suck. They're just not a good team, and that's interesting, right? Very interesting. How can a man who owns a crappy basketball team become a billionaire off the ownership of that basketball team? Let me tell you why. Let me tell you this little secret. In case you don't know this, here's a little secret about professional sports. In many cases, the profitability of that team has very little to do with the winning percentage of that team. There are many, many teams that are extremely profitable that don't be winning shit. That ain't won a game since slavery. Okay, ain't won a game since Pistol Pete Maravich was playing in the NBA. Since the 1940s. In fact, some would even say that there is a negative correlation, or what they call a negative opposite relationship between profitability and winning percentages. What does that mean? Well, some would say that if your goal is to become the Golden State Warriors and win championship after championship after championship, well, that's going to be very, very expensive. Because, everybody who owns a sports team wants to win. Everybody, no team owner goes to a game and says, my God, I hope that we lose tonight, right? They go to the game, they're sitting in the owner's box and they're cheering, and when their team scores the winning basket, they're like, yeah, we did it, right? Michael Jordan is no different. So why is it that Michael Jordan, a man who was a winner his whole entire life, dominated professional sports his whole entire life, making so much money by running a sucky basketball team? Well, it could be because he's just bad. Like he spends money and doesn't know which players to pick. That's a possibility. Absolutely. We could leave that on the table. But I'm going to throw out another possibility. I'm going to throw out the possibility that Michael Jordan has done a calculation. And Michael Jordan basically said, winning is great, but if I want to win on the court, it might cause me some losses off the court. Because I could go out and get this guy that's going to be $150 million over 4 years, whatever they're paying him now. But instead, I'm going to get this other guy who's $80 million over 4 years, who ain't going to win me a championship, but I can still keep making money off this team, right? I still got my TV rights. I still have my merchandising. The Charlotte fans will still come to the games and buy tickets. I still have all the concessions that are being sold at the games. I still have all the other licensing deals that are in place. So we're going to make our money even if the team ain't winning, even if they're not that great, right? So the Hornets suck, and he owns a sucky team. But what's fascinating is that despite the fact that his team is not a winning team, Michael Jordan's bank account has been winning championships every single year for the last 25 years. In fact, despite his politics, I know some of y'all have said things about Michael's politics, and I don't blame you. Michael Jordan could do more for the black community. No question about that. He's an inch away from being a Tiger Woods, right? Really, we know politically speaking, there's a lot more that Michael could do. There's a lot more that Tiger could do. In fact, I saw Tiger win the Masters, and I was happy for him. Because I love the comeback. I thought it was great. But I did find it interesting that when they showed all the pictures of all the people he was with and hugging and kissing and putting his arm around afterward, he did not have one single black person in the picture. I didn't see a single black person anywhere. Right? Everybody he's hugging, I'm like, damn, like he ain't got no black people in his life. So, it's a mix, right? It's conflicting inside internally. You're like, damn, I want to cheer for this dude, but come on, man, give me something else to cheer for. Right? Well, Michael Jordan is kind of in that space too, right? He's been apolitical. He hasn't gotten involved in Democrat, Republican, back and forth, and that's a little bit interesting. But then again, though, I thought about it, and to some extent, I began to realize maybe I can partially appreciate the fact that he doesn't get into the Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative divides, right? Because you guys have heard me say, I really don't care about that stuff. Don't get me wrong, I care about black activism because y'all see me do it all the time. But, and I wish Michael would do some of that too, like I really do. But you've also seen me say, whether Trump's in office or Obama's in office or Biden's in office or some other Republicans in office, I don't really see life for black people changing that much, except for when black people do things that are going to change our lives, right? I don't really see how policy is going to give us what we actually need in order to be successful. I don't even know if it's in their job description. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but they're not doing that job. But whatever that job is, right? And so I've actually said myself, forget the politics, man. Just it's the dollars and cents. That's the power. Right? Michael Jordan has enough power economically right now to the point where he could probably pick up the phone and call up all kinds of senators and congressmen and whomever and get their ear in terms of getting them to listen to his ideas on pretty much anything he wants to talk about. Right? And that comes from what? That comes directly from Powernomics. That's the game Michael Jordan appears to be playing. He's playing the game of Powernomics. Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button. Also, I want to remind everybody that we are on iTunes. So if you're on iTunes and you want to find this podcast on iTunes, just look for my name. You can find it on iTunes. Also, do not forget that the All Black National Convention is in September. I will make an announcement when the tickets go on sale. It's going to be in September in Houston. It's going to be amazing. In case if you've gone there before, say something so that other people will hear you tell them how great it is. It's going to be awesome. So I want to make sure you guys know about the All Black National Convention. So in 2010, here's how Michael Jordan got invested with the Hornets. In 2010, he put up a stake of about $175 million. And that gave him about 90% ownership, or actually scratch that. I think he had a minority stake at the time. I believe that he's increased his stake since that time. So I think in the beginning, he put up about $175 million. At that time, the team had a lot of debt. And he agreed to take on a big chunk of that debt. Now, as of, I think, last year, Forbes has estimated that the market value of the Charlotte Hornets is about $1.05 billion. Michael Jordan owns 90% of the Charlotte Hornets. According to Forbes, Michael Jordan owns 90% of a $1.05 billion business, right? 90% of 1.05 billion is about 900 million plus a little bit of change, right? Well, remember that this isn't Michael Jordan's only major financial play. His other major financial play are those shoes that every kid in the hood everywhere is wearing, right? And I know some of the guys that run the Jordan brand, and they're actually good brothers. I've never met Michael, but I've met the CEO Larry Miller and his team, and I've sat and talked with them for a very long time. And I respect these guys. I respect Larry Miller a lot. He's a very smart man. And one of the things that I can give Larry Miller credit for is the fact that Larry took that Jordan brand, and I think they were making $200 or $300 million a year, and now they're making billions a year. In fact, they're competing with Nike. Nike was the big brother; they were the little brother. Now the little brother is competing with the big brother. If you notice, University of Michigan football, if I'm not mistaken, now has the Jumpman logo on their jerseys, whereas they used to have the Nike swoosh. Everybody used to have the Nike swoosh. Now Jumpman is kind of everywhere. So every time you see Jumpman anywhere, when you see your kids saying, "Mom, I want the new pair of Jordans," just know that this is all connected to Michael Jordan's financial power play that he started making back when he was playing basketball. He was a lot different from a lot of athletes at that time, and a lot of athletes are starting to do that now because they're paying attention to the template. He laid out the blueprint. But at that time, he was unique because he was actually making significant business moves while he was still on the court. Why? Well, because he was able to understand and recognize the tremendous brand value he had at that time, where his power in the world, his opportunity in the world wasn't just that I'm 6'6" and I can dunk basketballs. His power in the world was I have a brand that is known all throughout the world, like Coca-Cola. You know, and if you go and you look up what is the value of the Coca-Cola brand, the logo, the trademark, what is the brand of Walt Disney, Mickey Mouse, all of that, you're gonna see numbers in the billions of dollars. What is the brand of the Avengers? What is the brand of Iron Man, right? Iron Man alone in the Avengers is probably a multi-billion-dollar brand, right? Why do these brands have value? Well, because you can take these brands and you can merchandise them. You can make money from these brands. You can slap the name and on the label on certain things, right? So ultimately, you know, when you're thinking about, you know, sort of looking at sort of how Michael got to where he is now, right now he's the 1,477th richest person in the world. At least he was last year. Maybe he's moved up since then. If you want to know how he got there by being an investor. Michael Jordan did not get rich by being a basketball player. Michael Jordan did not get rich by being a basketball player. Basketball was just a component. It was just a piece of the puzzle. It couldn't have been the whole puzzle, because if it were the whole puzzle, then all the basketball players would be worth $1 billion. If it was the whole puzzle, then Antoine Walker would be worth over $1 billion. Antoine Walker and Michael Jordan used to hang out. Actually, Antoine Walker and Michael Jordan used to go kick it and go to R. Kelly's house to play basketball. Y'all didn't know that, did you? But they was all in Chicago. They all Chicago guys. You know, so there's a long history to all of this, right? So think about this. How is it that Michael Jordan Antoine Walker, and R. Kelly used to all be kicking it together. Antoine Walker, Michael Jordan, and R. Kelly were all superstars at what they did. Antoine Walker, Michael Jordan, and R. Kelly were all the kings of Chicago. Antoine Walker, R. Kelly, and Michael Jordan all had tremendous talent that made them respected all around the world. R. Kelly, Michael Jordan, and Antoine Walker were all in a position to make millions of dollars every year. But out of the three, one is a billionaire. The other two, one's a billionaire. One is bankrupt or has gone bankrupt because he spent all of his money. And the other one is about 2 inches away from a jail cell. What's the difference? Well, it's choices. It's choices. I'm not sitting here trying to sing the praises of Michael Jordan. I'm not into that stuff. I'm not into hero worship. But I'm here to just laying the game out on the table so you can look at how the chess pieces move, and knowing that if you got 3 people in the same position, where you stand is not as important as where you're going. 3 pieces on the chessboard, one goes that way, one goes that way, one goes that way. He gets killed, he ends up being the king. Well, then you need to pay attention and understand that where you are doesn't matter nearly as much as what you do. Where you stand right now doesn't matter as much as where you're going. It's all about your trajectory. So you must ask yourself all the time, you must remind yourself of this important fact. Whatever you are right now, you're always becoming something. Nothing is static. Nothing is static. You're all becoming something. Everybody in here is becoming something. So you got to ask yourself, based on my actions, based on my decisions, based on my next move, what am I becoming? Some of you, if you're an investor, yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. How many of you are consistently investing in the stock market? Right? We can't all go buy the Charlotte Hornets. We know that. That's not doable for everybody. But how many of y'all are consistently investing in the stock market? Raise your hand. Yes or no? Yes or no? If you're not, just say no. Just be honest. It's okay. There's no shame in here. You should be proud of the fact that you're here. I don't care what you know. I don't care where you walked to. I don't care if you got a 3rd grade reading level. The fact that you want to be intelligent makes me respect you. I respect you more than some of the people I know that got PhDs. Okay, I see a lot of yeses. A lot of yeses. Okay, good. And I'm sure there's some no's in there as well. There we go. T. Foxwood, thank you for admitting to no. I see Hakeem says no. Good. All right. So what I want you to understand is that if you said yes, and if you're being consistent, and if you're going to do this for the next 20 to 30 years for your family, for your children and your grandchildren, you might be broke as a damn joke, but what you're becoming is a wealthy person. Many of you are becoming millionaires. Millionaires are grown the same way you grow a flower. When I planted tomato, when my woman planted tomatoes in the backyard, they didn't become tomatoes the next day. Every day, they look, for a long time, they just look like dirt. And then there's a point where it looked like a tiny little sprout. Then after that, it looked like a little flower bush thing. And then eventually it started looking like tiny tomatoes that were not edible, right? And if I ever got imprisoned by the moment and couldn't see the future, if I ever got caught up in where things were instead of seeing where things were going, I could easily be a hater. I could easily become a Negro naysayer. You know Negro naysayers, people who have a problem for every solution. A Negro naysayer will say, man, what do you think you're doing? Like, you can't grow no tomatoes. That's not even, how am I going to eat that tomato? That tomato ain't nothing. That thing is so tiny, that don't even look like a damn grape. That's what the Negro naysayers do. Like Dave Chappelle when he had Hater of the Year. Like the Negro naysayers, you're like those Yvette Carnell type people. Like black people ain't got nothing. You ain't got no wealth. You can't grow no wealth. You can't never have nothing. Just look at you. You're broke. You're struggling. You ain't got nothing, right? So you got the Hater of the Year awards going out to people because they lack vision. Because they lack vision. The people who lack vision are the people who can blind you to your vision. The people who lack vision get you distracted from the vision that you have, from the belief that you can actually make $1 out of 15 cents, the belief that you can actually grow what you have into something that's worthwhile, right? You got people out here, some of y'all can see clearly what your future can become. Some of y'all have been listening to me for the longest time, and you got a vision. Your problem is that you're surrounded by a bunch of blind motherfuckers. And the worst thing about a blind person, a mentally, psychologically blind person, is not when they're blind and they know that they're blind and they just accept that they're blind. What I can't stand is a blind person who thinks that they have 20/20 vision, right? The blind idiot who thinks that they're a genius. Anybody know anybody like that? Anybody know seriously, like they say, it's hard to win an argument with an intelligent person, but it's impossible to win an argument with an ignorant person. You can argue, you can debate a smart person and they'll hear your argument, you'll hear theirs, their arguments are solid, you got to go back and forth. But an ignorant person is somebody who's not only stupid, but they are confident in their stupidity. And if anybody should know the perils of being overconfident, it should be the dumb motherfucker, but they're not smart enough to know how overconfident they are. So they walk around like, well, black folks ain't got no wealth and you can't never build nothing. You started that business, nigga, and your business ain't gonna grow into nothing. You just made $8 last week, nigga. Like, you need to go back and get that job at the post office. They hiring over at Wendy's, and your old dumb ass thinking you gonna build. Who you think you is, Warren Buffett? Like, seriously, we have those naysayers who are constantly killing dreams on a daily basis. They are literally walking through the hood and doing drive-bys on the dreams of black people that have vision. They're looking at black people who want to build something, who believe in themselves, who are trying to do something special and create something, and they're literally running up on them like Nipsey Hussle and shooting your dream in the head. Like, they are literally doing what they can to kill what you're doing. Why? Well, because miserable sons of bitches love company, and they get mad when you're not miserable just like them. When you ain't sitting down there with your face in the toilet just like them, they get mad. When you're not sitting around complaining about how hard it is to be black just like them, they get mad. When you say, I got a plan to get out of this shit, I think we have a plan, I think we can accomplish something, it pisses them off. And then if you really want to piss them off, if you really want to piss off the Negro naysayer, then go out and start becoming successful. Go out and actually start achieving some of your goals. Seriously, I remember, I'm not making this up, I'm not kidding you with you on this, I swear to God. When I was in undergrad, when I was a freshman in college, at the University of Kentucky, I don't know what came over me. I just had a baby as a freshman in college, which was like the scariest thing in the world. Don't ever do that if you're a kid. Like, don't do it. It's scary as hell. So I had this baby, and I remember thinking, how am I going to take care of this baby? I can't even take care of myself. I don't have enough money to pay child support or pay for a child. So I knew that education was an opportunity for me to improve my situation. So I was like, well, if I get this education thing figured out, because I never made good grades before in my life. My grades were terrible in high school. That's why I tell you, don't give up on your kids, because you don't know what kind of genius your child has. That white lady at that public school can never identify the genius in a black boy 99 times out of 100. They just can't. Or a black girl. They just don't listen. Just you teach your child and you make sure that you get the most out of them, because the public school system's not built that way. So I remember thinking, I bet if I work really hard and I do well in college, I can get a good job. At the time, I didn't know nothing about starting no business. No, I didn't have anybody really taught me about that. So I only knew about getting a good job. So I was like, if I could get a good job, I can make this much money, and I could do this and this and this, right? So at that point, my goal became simple. My objective, my mission in life was to become a great student. And I was like, well, I'm gonna make straight A's. And check it out. Here's what's really fascinating, right? Making straight A's was a very lofty objective for me, especially given that I'd never made an A in school. I don't remember. I think I made an A in PE one time, physical education. I'd never made an A like in history, biology, or anything. I'd never made an A. Imagine this, a kid who never made an A all through elementary, middle, and high school saying, I'm going to go to college my freshman year and make straight A's. I'm just sick, right? I probably was a little bit delusional. That's why I think it's good for you to be a little bit crazy, because this was a crazy goal. Back, in hindsight, I don't even know what led me to think I could do this. But one of the things that was interesting was I did not know academics. I did not know how to study, but as a black male, I played a lot of sports because I was misguided into sports like a lot of black boys are. And so I knew certain principles that I learned in sports that helped me in life. For example, I learned in sports that if you want to be good at something, you practice, and you practice every day consistently. So when I studied, I would think about it like practice, right? And I would practice several hours a day. I was doing more than my classmates. My friends weren't studying like that. My friends would study 3 or 4 hours a week. I would study 3 or 4 hours a day. So that right there was putting me ahead of everybody, right? Second thing I learned is that if you want to beat the next man, you work harder than the next man, right? You get what you pay for. You get what you get out what you put in. If you don't put it in, you ain't gonna get it out, right? That's just basic ideas of life that you can literally teach to a 4-year-old, right? The more you want to get, the more you must give. That's what I learned from sports. What else did I learn from sports? I learned that also, if you want to compete and win a championship months down the line, you don't start practicing the day before the game. You have to practice months in advance. So the sooner you start, the more of a head start you can get. So I would study for my tests. I didn't study for my tests the night before. I didn't know nothing about that cramming. You know, they got college students that'll pull all-nighters and all that. I never did that because I'd be like, well, if I got a big test in a month, why don't I start studying 3 weeks ahead instead of waiting until the day before? Basic shit. I kid you not. And so here's what happened that was really amazing to me. First person I told was a loved one, a relative, who was actually in my corner, who loved me. And I said, and this is going back to the Negro naysayers, how sometimes the people in your family or your people around you that have no vision can kill your vision. So I said, yeah, I think I'm gonna make straight A's on my report card. And they kind of froze up and they said, well, don't get your hopes up too high. You sure? That sounds like a lot, right? So, but this is a person that really loved me. They weren't trying to kill my dream. They just didn't see how I was going to pull it off. And then I went to a counselor. I went to one of the counselors. You know how they got the minority students in all these special programs because universities think that we're retarded. So they always create these special minority programs and all this other stuff where they set really low expectations, like you must have a 2.4 GPA or whatever, right? So I was in one of those minority programs and I said to the minority counselor, and back that time I used the word minority. I don't use it anymore because it's such a weak little wimpy ass term. So I don't even use that term. But it was like the minority blah blah blah. Right. So I said to her, I said, I'm gonna make straight A's this semester, and I think I can do it. Do you know what she said? I kid you not. I'm not pretending. She said, well, if you think you're gonna get through a whole year of school without making a single B, you in for a rude awakening. And I remember thinking at 18, I thought, man, like that's a defeatist thing to say. And I was like, wait a minute, but don't white kids get straight A's? Aren't there white kids who make straight A's in college? Why would you tell me that it's not possible for me? That doesn't make any sense. And then I had another person who was supposed to be a mentor of mine, another brother who was about maybe 8 years older than me. And I told him I was going to make straight A's. And I remember he specifically said, that's not possible. That's impossible. You can't make straight A's. Like he literally talked about making straight A's as if it was impossible. And I was like, it's not impossible because people do it all the time. Chinese kids do it. White kids do it. Some black people do it when they don't have a bunch of other black people around telling them that they can't do it, right? So I know it's doable. So I applied those rules. So what I did was I was like, I'm going to show them. I'm going to show everybody, right? So I applied the rules that I told you about. Practice consistently every day. Work harder than the next man. Always prepare in advance. And you know what happened? Not only did I make straight A's, but I blew away every single class that I had. I mean, I'm talking about straight, like where the teacher, my math teacher was a nerdy little white guy, and he came up and I came into class. I came into the final exam with my basketball because I'd been playing basketball before the test because I'd already done all the studying in advance. I didn't even have to like cram or anything because I already knew the stuff cold. So I came in with a basketball in one hand and a pencil in the other, and I'm sitting there with my basketball under my foot taking the test, and he's like, do you know, he's like a little nerdy guy. He's like, well, do you realize that according to my calculations that you can make a 12 on the final exam and still get an A in the class? And I was like, yeah, I already calculated that. I already knew that. And we kind of laughed about it. And again, there was hundreds of people in this class, and he came up to me to say this to me. And that was amazing in terms of, for the first time in my life, feeling special, feeling like I could actually do this. Before that, I spent my whole life being convinced sometimes by people who love me that there was only so much I would be able to accomplish as a black man. And you know what's really unfortunate about that whole semester, that whole first semester, which was really a breakthrough semester for my life. The only person who encouraged me and who believed in me when I told them what I was going to do was a white woman this white woman, this old lady, her name was Lois Remner, and she was a about 70 years old, and she was a tutor in the Minority Student Center, or whatever they called it. And I used to go meet with her twice a week, and it would just be me and her, and she would help me with my, grammar and reading, because my reading and my grammar wasn't very good. And I would tell her what my dream was, and she would say, Boyce, I believe that you can do anything you put your mind to. And I think about that story. I've never really talked about that story in this way, certainly not publicly, but it really makes me reflect. Or I said, why was it that the 3 black people I remember talking to about my dream, people who cared about me, these were not haters. These were not like out in the open haters. These were not enemies. These were people who had my back. Why is it that they discouraged me? And I think that for black people, I think that we have a self-esteem problem that we have to address as a community. In fact, one of the projects I'm working on now is I'm writing a book on economic codes of conduct. And one of the codes of conduct I want to lay out there real clear is that you need to support your brothers and sisters when they have big dreams. See, the thing about big crazy dreams is that big crazy dreams are like taking 3-point shots in an NBA game. You're gonna miss 60% of the shots. You're gonna miss most of the shots. But that doesn't mean that you tell the players never to take the shots. Because if you don't take the shots, then you definitely gonna miss the shots. You get no points when you take no shots, and black people don't take enough shots. Do you follow what I'm saying? Talk black to me. Tell me did you understand? I see Vicky Dillard is in here. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Yes or no? Or do you get what I'm saying? We have a self-esteem problem. So, because a lot of times when you're trying to go out here and do something that's a little bit different, you need cheerleaders. You need a cheering squad that's going to push you on. You need people that are going to really tell you that the impossible is possible. You need to have people that tell you that even if it doesn't work out, I'm proud of you for trying. Like when I invested money in the Tulsa real estate fund that Jay Morrison put together, I didn't do it because I knew for a fact that Jay was going to make a bunch of money and it was going to be successful. I did it because he was trying. I said, good job, black man. You're trying. You're trying to do something different. You're trying to change the mold. So whether you succeed or whether you fail, we will grow because we tried. Do you understand? The benefit and the growth is not in the winning. The benefit and the growth is in the trying. Because in fact, the only thing that teaches you more than winning is when you lose. Tell me yes or no. Do you understand what I'm saying when I tell you that losing is the best way to learn that you'll ever experience? There ain't nothing that's going to make you a winner by being a consistent loser. If you're a loser and you keep on learning how to get up, you will have a toughness that nobody else can match. The soft people, the weak people, the ones who do all the winning. Like this year in football, the University of Alabama was beating every team by 40 points. So they were used to winning. They got soft. They weren't used to a situation where they might actually be challenged. So every time Alabama got challenged and got pushed to the limit, you saw chinks in their armor. You saw them breaking down. When Mike Tyson was a boxer, he would do nothing but win. He would knock guys out in the first 2 minutes. So when somebody took his ass to the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th round, he didn't know how to handle that. So sometimes being pushed, not sometimes, all the time, when you get pushed like that, or when you get knocked the hell out, there ain't nothing that will lead to tremendous self-reflection than the humiliation and the sadness that you feel when you just got knocked the fuck out in front of everybody. That will make you incredibly reflective. Think about this. Why do you think that men, hard-headed ass Negroes, you ever know a hard-headed ass person who keeps messing up and doing stuff and you're like, you keep doing that, you're going to go to jail. And then finally they go to jail, right? They go to jail and they get like a sentence, a long sentence, 3, 4, 5, 6 years or more, right? But then they come out. What happens? A lot of times when they come out, they're very different. They're much smarter. They'll be like, oh yeah, I was in jail. I was reading books. I became a Muslim. I meditate now, right? Well, because getting knocked the fuck out, excuse my French, I'm sorry. Y'all got to forgive me for the cussing, but that's just who I am. Sometimes getting knocked the fuck out is the best way for you to learn who you really are and to decide who you're going to be. So I encourage you. So I want to encourage you right now. Here's what I want to encourage you to do. I want to encourage everybody in here to go out in the world and get the courage to go do something where you think you're going to get knocked the fuck out. I need you to go take some hits to the chin so that you can know what it feels like to get knocked out, so you'll come back and be reflective, and you will learn and you will grow as a result of the struggle that you faced when you went after the impossible dream. Go get knocked out and then come talk to me, because then we can have a better conversation. I don't want people that are always winning in life, because typically those people are the ones who had it too easy. That's why, in fact, the black people I resonate the most with are not the ones who got the best jobs with the most money. They're the ones who got fired on their day off. The black people that I resonate most with are not the ones who always had an easy path through life. I resonate with a lot of people who have gone to prison. Don't ask me why. I haven't gone to prison, but I think that there's something there, because going to prison leads you to challenge and question the system that so many Negroes believe in, right? The black people I resonate with the most are the ones who've experienced an injustice. The black people I resonate with the most are the ones who've gone through some hard times. People who are always winning, they think that they're winning, but really they're losing long term, because it is getting your butt kicked that really makes you strong and makes you tough and makes you smart and makes you capable. It's all spiritual at the end of the day. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please hit the thumbs up button. Also, I want to let you guys know, if you want to buy books like Powernomics, Black Labor, White Wealth, stuff like that, you can actually go to drboycebooks.com. That's drboycebooks.com. And also, don't forget, we're on iTunes, so you can download the podcast on iTunes. Make sure you do that. Also, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done it. If you're on Facebook, please share this video so other people can hear this. I think people need to hear this kind of thing. So the bottom line in terms of what we can learn from Michael Jordan's move, and I want you to put aside the politics of Michael Jordan for a minute. It doesn't matter if he's Democrat, Republican. I don't care about any of that. All I know is that he's winning financially, and I think there's something you can learn from that. So here's what you want to really see in all of this. What you want to really see is that Michael Jordan was once a man who made his money through labor. He made his money through what is called human capital. He would dribble a basketball and score points, and the Bulls would write him a check. They would give him a paycheck. He made the transition once, as his human capital started to deteriorate. He got older, couldn't play basketball anymore. His knees started going bad. He switched over to other forms of capital that are more sustainable. He was taking the money he made from playing basketball, and he was putting it into the Jordan brand. He's putting it into ownership of the Charlotte Hornets. He's putting it into various businesses. I'm sure he owns all over the country, franchises. Jamal Mashburn, Shaquille O'Neal, some of these other guys just own hundreds of franchises now, right? They're doing things like that. And so what that does is that moves you away from the space where you have to have a physically healthy body in order to make money, and you move into the space where your money is being made by a system. So the most important thing you could teach your children is how to make money through systems, not through labor, right? Labor is a very tough way to make money for the rest of your life, especially if you don't save and invest, because if you're making your money through labor and you're living paycheck to paycheck, well, there's going to come a point where you can't perform labor anymore. Tell me if you have people in your family where you've seen this, where they got to the point where they were too old to work, too tired to work, too sick to work, and then they became financially drained because they couldn't go out and make money anymore, right? So that is something that you should be taught at an early age. You can teach yourself that now. I encourage you to learn that now if you learn it now, but the reason you want to learn it now is not just so you can improve your own condition. This is a relay race. This is a team sport. The reason you want to learn these things now is because you can say this to your granddaughter who's 3. You can start talking to her early and saying, hey, baby, you want to learn how to make your money through a system. You want to learn how to make your money through business ownership. You want to make your money through capital gains. Most of Michael Jordan's wealth did not come from inheritance. Stop believing the nonsense that tells you that if you don't get an inheritance, it's impossible to build wealth. That's just not true. That's just not true. Doesn't mean that inheritance definitely helps. That's why you want to leave it for your kids. But there's millions of people in America who build lots of wealth who didn't inherit anything except a bunch of debt. Michael Jordan's wealth accumulation came from the capital gains that occurred as a result of the growth in value of the team that he bought back in 2010. There are lots of other athletes who played in the NBA who could have made the same investment but did not make that investment because they wanted to go out and buy a new Porsche and spend money on booty and bling and pay rent for all their relatives and all this other stuff. It's fine to do all that. You can buy the booty and the bling. You can buy the Porsches. You can pay the rent for your relatives if that's what you want to do. But you must have a percentage of your wealth that is going toward investing. So black spending power does not exist. There's no such thing as when Black Enterprise or any magazine, no disrespect to Black Enterprise, I know those people and I love them very much, but if any magazine ever tells you or brags to you about black spending power, I need you to go tell them that on behalf of all intelligent black people everywhere, I need to tell you to shut the fuck up, because black spending power is not power. Black spending power is not black power. There is only black investing power. Spending doesn't empower you. Spending empowers the company that you've spent your money with. The only thing that empowers you is investing. So you want to translate that 1.3 trillion in spending power to at least $500 billion in investing power. If we do that, on a consistent basis as a community, then you're going to see black wealth just shoot through the roof. So my master plan, and I'm going to repeat this probably 85,000 times in the times you hear about me, is that by the year 2070, my vision is, and I'm going to look at this vision from heaven. I probably won't be here in 2070, but from heaven, I'm going to check the Wi-Fi in heaven. I heard they have good Wi-Fi in heaven, and I'm going to check on financial literacy for black youth, and I'm going to see if we can do enough in this generation. This is my impossible dream, but it's not impossible because I'm going to make it possible. I'm going to look and see if black children in the year 2070 have higher financial literacy than other children of other ethnic groups. I want black children in America and around the world to lead the earth in financial literacy and intelligence, where every black child is learning how to start a business by the age of 12. Every black child knows how to buy shares of stock by the age of 12. Every black child knows the fundamentals of buying real estate by the age of 12. If we do that, then we can win. We will win. So that's it. I want to hit the thumbs up button, please. Make sure you do that. Also, if you want to support intelligent black media around the world, we invite you to become a patron supporter of the channel. You can do that by going to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. Also, I want to give you guys the melanated mogul of the day. I know that y'all be learning that white history at school, so I decided that I want to use our melanated mogul flashcards and share a melanated mogul of the day. So these are black people that you've probably never heard of who did amazing things, and I believe that black people who do amazing things deserve to be remembered by the next generation. Most of your greatest heroes in your community are people that you've forgotten. We've killed their legacy because nobody taught us about the legacy. That's why when I go down to Tulsa and I go to the same street where the Black Wall Street massacres took place, a lot of the people who live on that street have no idea that the massacres ever happened. Imagine this. Imagine if we did something amazing in this generation and we built something great, and then they destroyed it and they killed half of us and raped the other half and incarcerated the rest. And then our children and grandchildren knew nothing about it and acted like it never happened and became friends with the people who killed us. That would be very insulting to our legacy. So I want to resurrect the idea of us remembering our ancestors who did great things. So this brother that you probably don't know about is named Paul Cuffey. Paul Cuffey was born in 1759 during slavery. He died in 1817. His industry was shipping. By 1800, Paul Cuffey amassed a fortune of nearly $10,000, which was a lot of money back then. $10,000 was a lot of money. I would imagine it's close to being a millionaire. If not a millionaire, very close. From investments in ships and waterfront property, which included a farm and a windmill. At the time of his death, his estate was estimated at $20,000. He was reputed to be the wealthiest person of African descent in the U.S. prior to the War of 1812. So he was the richest black man in America prior to the War of 1812. Cuffey was also an advocate of the Back to Africa movement. In 1815, he, along with 38 African-American immigrants, traveled to Sierra Leone not only for a new life, but also to establish trade between the United States and Africa that did not involve slaves. So here's the here's the animated picture of him, and here is the other portrait of him right here. You guys can see. I'll put it up in the camera so you can see it. So there you go. So that's Paul Cuffey. So I shade of Paul Cuffey, And if you are interested in taking a look at these flashcards and getting them for your kids, there's a whole bunch of them in here. Feel free to, these are the Melanated Moguls flashcards. We also have Melanated Minds and Melanated Monarchs. If you want to take a look, please visit melanatedflashcards.com. That's melanatedflashcards.com. This is a great way, very simple and easy way to train your children on Black history. Also, this summer, as summer comes up, I encourage you to maybe do what I do with my kids is I just tell them whenever they ask me for anything, like literally, they know the routine now. Whenever they ask me for anything, first thing I do is I say, okay, well, you know what gets money out of me, right? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, what is it? They're like, oh, well, learning about finances and money. So I tell them, go pick up a couple flashcards, learn 2 concepts on those cards, and come back and show me what you know, and we're gonna have a conversation. If you impress me enough, you can get that $10, you can get that $15, whatever it is you want to get. So do that with your children in the sense that you want to help them to understand the linkage between knowledge and wealth. Don't have them thinking that ignorant people get all the money. That's what reality TV does. Reality TV teaches children falsely that ignorant people are the ones who get paid, right? They see some rapper on TV with a gold with diamonds in the grill and tattoos on their face and having sex with every girl that moves and becoming an alcoholic and a drug addict and not taking care of their kids, and they think that that's how you get rich. You get a reality show and be like Black China, that's how you get rich. No, it's not. That's just not true. You want them to correlate wealth with 2 things, knowledge and hard work. The knowledge and skill when it comes to making money through systems, like Michael Jordan did through investments and capital gains, and also work. You got to work. If you're not working hard to learn new things, then you're not going to get ahead. So those are the lessons that we teach, and I share that with you so that I can help guide you through that process. I know some of you may not be sure what to teach your kids. You may not know how to do it. You may not have the resources, but we've got all that for you. We've set up the whole University Institute for children. It's all available digitally. There is a small fee because it costs a lot of money to push and market our message to the world, but the fee is nominal compared to the hundreds of thousands of dollars that white universities are charging you to teach you what they want you to know. I think that the tide must turn where we're teaching what we want our kids to know, and that's why we do this. And so anyway, I'm out of here, guys. Make sure you subscribe. Please subscribe. Also, if you want to subscribe to our financial YouTube channel, go to theblackfinancialchannel.com, theblackfinancialchannel.com. Don't forget, All Black National Convention's happening in September, the weekend of September 27th in Houston. Mark it on your calendar. It's already set in stone. I'll let you know when the tickets go on sale for that. And that's pretty much it. So take care, guys. Thank you. Hit that thumbs up button. And I hope that you gained something from this conversation. I'm going to go take me a nap and get ready for Game of Thrones. Dun, 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 dun.